The space station floated silently in the vast darkness of space, far from Earth and any known planet. Inside, the human engineer, Jack, was busy fixing a broken power panel. He was used to long, quiet days alone on the station. His only companion was an alien canine named Rill, a creature from a distant world. Rill was not like any dog Jack had seen on Earth. She was taller, smarter, and could talk in a way humans understood. Jack smiled as Rill trotted by his side, her bright eyes curious about everything. He had grown fond of her company during his years on the station. But today, something was different. Rill stopped suddenly in front of Jack and looked serious. Her tail wagged slowly, but her eyes were wide. "Jack," she said in her calm voice, "you should prepare. We're having puppies." Jack froze. He blinked and stared at her, not sure if he had heard correctly. "Wait, ... What?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. "Yes," Rill replied. "We're having puppies. My kind is pregnant." Jack shook his head, thinking maybe it was a joke, but Rill's face was serious. She was not joking. This was real. Jack took a deep breath. "But how? When? I didn't know your kind could have puppies." Here, Rill sat down slowly and explained, "It is rare for us to reproduce outside our home planet, but something changed. When you helped me repair the shield generator last month, it triggered a biological response in me." Jack remembered that day. He had helped Rill fix a strange device that controlled the station's energy shield. They had joked about it then, but he never thought it would lead to this. Rill continued, "Now I carry our future pups inside me. It is a shock for everyone." Jack felt his heart race. This was unexpected. A new life growing inside his alien friend. But it was not just about puppies. This news meant many things. Changes, dangers, hopes. "Are you okay? How do you feel?" Jack asked, trying to hide his worry. "I am strong, but the pregnancy affects me," Rill said quietly. "Sometimes I feel weak or strange, and sometimes I see visions of danger and hope." Jack looked at her carefully. He wanted to help, but he did not know how. He was an engineer, not a doctor. And alien biology was a mystery. Suddenly, an alarm sounded on the station. The lights flickered, and the air felt colder. Jack rushed to the control panel and checked the readings. "What is happening?" he asked, eyes wide. Rill looked worried. "I do not know. But the signals are unusual. Something is connected to my pregnancy. We must be careful." Jack nodded. He felt a chill run down his spine. This was no ordinary pregnancy. Something bigger was happening. He decided to visit the station's medical bay. Maybe the AI doctor could help, but when they reached the door, it was locked. The medical AI was offline. Jack's mind raced. How would he help Rill now? Without medical help, the risk was high. Rill looked up at him and said softly, "Jack, you must promise me something." "Anything," Jack said quickly. "Protect the puppies, no matter what happens." Jack swallowed hard. "I promise." At that moment, the station's communication system beeped. A message appeared on the screen. It was from an unknown source. Warning. The message read, "An alien pregnancy on this station may threaten the balance of power. Prepare for intervention." Jack and Rill looked at each other. The message was clear. They were not safe. Rill growled low. "They know. They will come." Jack's hands clenched into fists. He won't let them take you or the puppies. The space outside the window was dark and still, but Jack knew it would not stay quiet for long. Danger was coming. He looked back at Rill. "We have to be ready for the puppies." "For us?" Rill nodded. "Yes, together." Jack felt a mix of fear and hope. The unknown future was frightening, but he was not alone. He had Rill, and soon the new life she carried. The space station seemed smaller now, a fragile home for their secret. As the stars blinked outside, Jack whispered, "You should prepare, human. We're having puppies." And with that, a new chapter began. The quiet hum of the space station filled the room as Jack sat at the main console, his eyes fixed on the strange data streaming across the screen. Rill lay nearby, resting but alert. The weight of the shocking announcement still hung in the air. She was pregnant. She was going to have puppies. But what did that mean? Jack had no answers. Jack rubbed his temples. "I have to understand this," he said quietly. "I need to know what to expect." He pulled up every file he could find on Rill's species, the Canis alteris. The information was scarce. The Canis alteris were rare in this part of the galaxy. Their biology was little known to humans. Even less was known about their reproduction outside their home planet. Jack sighed and looked at Rill. "We need more help. I can't do this alone." Rill opened her eyes slowly and nodded. "The elders of my tribe might know, but they live far away and they do not trust humans easily." Jack tapped a few keys and sent a secure message to the Canis Alteris Council. Hours passed with no reply. The station grew colder. Outside, the stars twinkled silently as if watching and waiting. Suddenly, the station's sensors picked up unusual signals. Jack leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Rill, these signals, they are coming from the ship's core. They're linked to your pregnancy somehow." Rill's ears twitched. "I feel it too. The pup's energy is strong. It changes the station's balance." Jack frowned. He ran a diagnostic on the power shield. Strange fluctuations flickered through the energy grid. Something about the pregnancy was affecting the station's systems. How can that be? Jack wondered aloud. A pregnancy shouldn't do this. Rill stood slowly. "My species has a deep connection with energy. The pups are born with this power. It is why we are rare, why others fear us." Jack's heart beat faster. This wasn't just about puppies. This was about power. Great power. Great power often means great danger. Jack said grimly. Just then, the station's external cameras showed movement. A small fleet of unknown ships approached fast, their shapes sharp and cold. Jack's breath caught. "Who are they?" he asked. Rill's eyes narrowed. "They are the Vorans, a warlike race. They know about my pregnancy. They want to take the pups for their own." Jack felt the air grow heavy with tension. The Vorans were known for their cruelty. They would not stop until they had what they wanted. "We have to prepare," Jack said. "We need defenses, and we need to protect you." Rill nodded. "Yes, but the pups are vulnerable. They must be born safely." Jack paced the room. "We'll strengthen the shield generators and set traps. But we must also find allies." Rill's tail wagged slowly. "There is one, a human scientist, Dr. Kim, who studies alien biology. She may help us." Jack pulled out his communicator. "Contact her now." Minutes later, Dr. Kim's face appeared on the screen. Her eyes widened as Jack explained the situation. An alien pregnancy affecting the station's systems. She said, stunned, "This is unprecedented." "We need your help," Jack said urgently. Dr. Kim nodded. "I'm on my way." While waiting, Jack began to study Rill's condition. The alien canine's breathing was steady but heavy. She moved carefully, sometimes stopping as if feeling pain. "Do you need anything?" Jack asked gently. Rill looked at him. "Just your presence. It comforts me." Jack smiled softly. "I'm here. We'll get through this." But deep inside, he felt a growing fear. The station was small and vulnerable. The Vorons were strong and coming fast. Suddenly, the power flickered and the station's gravity field shifted. Jack stumbled. "Something's wrong." RYL growled low. "The pup's energy is rising. It is unstable." Jack ran to the control panel and worked fast, trying to stabilize the systems. The station shook slightly as energy surged. "It's like a storm inside her," Jack said. "We need to calm it." Dr. Kim arrived just in time. She brought advanced medical equipment and started to scan Real. "This is incredible," she said. Amazed. Her body is adapting to the pregnancy, but it is draining the station's power. Jack frowned. "Can we help?" Dr. Kim nodded. "Yes, but carefully. The pups are tied to her energy. If we disrupt it, it could harm them all." Jack looked at Rill with new respect. She was carrying a future no one understood. Hours passed as they worked. Slowly, the power stabilized and Rill rested. Jack sat beside her. "We're ready for whatever comes next." But outside, the Voron fleet closed in. The real test was about to begin. The space station's lights dimmed as night passed into day. Though outside in space, time felt endless. Jack sat quietly in the small common room, his mind full of questions. Rill was resting in her chamber, her breathing calm but deep. The weight of the situation was heavy: an alien pregnancy, unknown dangers, and now, the approaching Voron threat. Jack knew he needed to understand more about Rill's people, the Canis Alteris. Their traditions, their ways of life, especially about pregnancy and birth. If he wanted to help protect the puppies, he had to know what to expect. He activated the station's ancient archives and began searching for any records about the Canis Alteris culture. The files were limited, but one transmission caught his eye. A video message from a Canis elder, recorded many years ago. Jack played the message. The elder's voice was deep and calm. "The birth of new life is sacred to the Canis Alteris. We honor the pups with rituals that protect their souls and bodies. These rituals link us to our ancestors and the energy of the stars." Jack leaned closer. The elder spoke of a ceremony called the Star Bond. It was said to strengthen the bond between mother and pups, granting them protection and power. Without it, the pups were vulnerable to harm. Jack felt a flicker of hope. If we can perform the Star Bond, he thought, maybe we can keep the puppies safe. Later, Jack approached Rill. "I found something," he said softly. "A ritual called the Star Bond. It might help protect your pups." Rill's eyes brightened. "Yes, it is our most important tradition, but the ritual requires the presence of my tribe and the sacred stones from my home world." Jack sighed. "We don't have the tribe here, and the stones. We can't get them from your planet." Rill looked down. Without the ritual, the pups may be weak. Jack's heart sank. We have to find another way. Rill placed a gentle paw on his arm. "Your heart wants to help. That is enough." But Jack was not so sure. That evening, Jack sat in the observation deck, staring at the stars. He thought about Rill, the pups, and the Vorons coming closer. Could he really protect them all? He felt small and helpless. Suddenly, the station's alarms blared. Jack jumped up and ran to the control room. The Voron fleet had deployed a scout ship, and it was scanning the station. "Jack, they're trying to find us," Rill said, appearing beside him. "We need to hide," Jack said quickly. He activated the stealth systems, dimming the station's external lights, but the scout ship was fast and smart. It sent out drones to search inside. Jack's mind raced. "We can't fight them head-on, we have to be smarter." Rill nodded. "I will help you." Together, they set traps and alarms throughout the station. Using every trick Jack knew. Hours later, as the drones moved through the corridors, they triggered hidden sensors. 8. The traps slowed the invaders, but it was clear the Vorons would not give up easily. Jack looked at Rill, who was tired but determined. "We can't stay here forever." Rill's eyes glowed softly. "I sense the pups growing stronger. Soon they will need us more than ever." Jack swallowed his doubts. "Then we must be ready." But inside him, a small voice whispered, "What? If this is too much for me, what if I fail them?" That night, Jack dreamed of the Vorons breaking through, taking Rill and the pups away. He woke with a start, sweat on his brow. Rill found him in the mess hall, staring at empty space. "Jack, why? Do you look so worried?" she asked. He forced a smile. "I'm just thinking." Rill sat beside him. "Your fear is natural. But remember, you are not alone." Jack nodded slowly. He knew she was right. They had to trust each other. The next day, Dr. Kim arrived with news. "I managed to contact a Canis Ultra scout nearby," she said. "They're willing to help with the ritual if we can hold out." Jack's eyes lit up. "Then we have hope." But the Vorons were already planning their next move. Jack clenched his fists. "We will fight. For Rill. For the pups. For the future." Rill smiled, a soft, fierce smile. "Together, we are strong." And so, the quiet space station prepared for the coming storm, an alien tradition, human courage, and the fight for new life. The space station, once quiet and calm, now buzzed with tension. Jack worked non-stop, strengthening the defenses and setting traps while Rill prepared herself for the coming dangers. Every moment, the threat of the Vorons grew closer. Jack stood at the main control room window, watching the distant flicker of enemy ships in the blackness of space. His mind raced with plans, but also doubts. Could they really defend the station? Could he protect Rill and the unborn pups? Suddenly, the alarm sounded sharply. Intruders detected on the lower decks. The computer voice announced. Jack grabbed his weapon and sprinted down the narrow hallways, Rill following close behind. They reached the security door just as a group of Voron soldiers tried to force it open. "Hold them off," Jack shouted. Rill's eyes glowed bright blue. She leaped forward, moving faster than Jack expected. Her claws cut through the air, and her strength surprised even him. The Vorons stumbled back, caught off guard by her power. Jack fired his weapon, aiming carefully. Despite their numbers, they began to fall. But then a sudden blast struck the door, forcing it open with a loud bang. More soldiers poured in. Jack's heart pounded. They were surrounded. Rill growled fiercely. "We fight for the pups." Together, Jack and Rill fought with everything they had. The narrow corridors echoed with the clash of weapons and the sound of battle. During the fight, Jack noticed a familiar face among the Vorons, a man he thought was an ally, a fellow engineer named Gnarl. But now, Gnarl stood with the enemy, his eyes cold and hard. Jack froze. "Gnarl, why are you with them?" Gnarl sneered. "You don't understand, human. The pups are a threat to us all. The Vorons want to control that power." I chose the winning side. Jack felt betrayed and angry, but there was no time for words. The fight continued, and Jack knew they had to retreat. "Rill, fall back to the medical bay. I'll hold them off." Rill hesitated, but nodded. "Go, protect the pups." Jack covered her escape, firing his weapon as the Vorons advanced. His chest burned from exertion, but he did not stop. He ran through the corridors, leading the enemies away from Rill. Meanwhile, in the medical bay, Rill lay down on the table, breathing heavy. Dr. Kim worked quickly, setting up medical devices. To monitor her condition, the pups were growing stronger, and the stress of the battle affected her. "Jack, where are you?" Rill whispered weakly. I'm coming, he promised, pushing through pain and exhaustion. Outside, Jack faced Gnarl again. The traitor aimed a weapon at him. Any last words? Human. Gnarl taunted. Jack smirked despite the danger. Yeah, you. Just lost. With a burst of energy, Jack dodged the attack and disarmed a Gnarl. The Vorons around them faltered, unsure. Suddenly, the station's alarms blared louder. The main power was failing. Jack realized the Vorons were trying to shut down the station completely. He rushed back to the control room, heart pounding. Real's voice came over the comm. Jack, the pups. They are awakening. Jack's breath caught. The pups inside Real stirred, their energy pulsing. He reached the control panel and fought to restore power. The lights flickered, systems rebooted, and the shield reactivated. Just in time. Outside the window, the Voron fleet retreated. Unable to break through the renewed defenses, Jack slumped in his chair, exhausted but relieved. Real's voice came again, calm now. You saved us. Jack smiled softly. We saved each other. As the battle quieted, Jack looked at Real, seeing her not just as an alien companion, but as a mother fighting for her family. The station was safe. For now, but the war was far from over. Jack knew more challenges awaited for the pups. For their future and for all of them. Together, they would face whatever came next. The station was quieter now, but the tension still lingered in the air. Real's time had come. The puppies were ready to be born. Jack stood by her side in the small medical bay, watching the alien canine struggle with pain. His heart ached for her. He wished he could take the pain away, but all he could do was offer comfort and hope. Real's breathing was heavy, and her eyes were filled with determination. Jack, she whispered, this is our future. Jack nodded, gripping her paw gently. I'm here. We'll get through this. The medical equipment beeped steadily, monitoring the pups inside her. Dr. Kim was busy preparing everything needed for the delivery. She looked calm, but serious. This is unlike any birth I have seen, she said softly. Real's energy is strong, but the pups are sensitive. We have to be careful. Suddenly, Real let out a sharp cry. Jack's stomach tightened. The time had come. He stayed close, holding her paw, feeling the warmth of life growing stronger. Outside the station, the Voron fleet hovered near, their presence a dark shadow. Jack knew they were waiting for a chance to strike again, but he refused to let fear take over. As the labor continued, the station's systems began to flicker. The pup's energy was rising, causing strange effects. Lights danced across the walls, and the air crackled with electricity. Jack looked at Real, worried. Can you hold on? She nodded weakly. For the pups. Then, a loud explosion rocked the station. The Vorons had breached the outer defenses. Alarms blared, and the station shook violently. Jack jumped up. They're inside. He grabbed his weapon and moved quickly through the halls, calling for Real. The medical bay was under threat. Real, despite her pain, stood ready. I will protect my pups. Jack arrived just in time to see Voron soldiers approaching. He fired his weapon, slowing them down. Real's eyes glowed fiercely as she joined the fight, her strength surprising the enemies. The battle was fierce. But Jack and Real fought together as one. Suddenly, a brilliant light filled the room. The puppies were born. Small, glowing creatures emerged, their fur shimmering with energy. They looked fragile but powerful. Jack stared in awe. They're incredible. Real's voice was soft but full of pride. Our future. The puppies. Energy pulsed through the room, healing wounds and strengthening defenses. The Vorons stepped back. Afraid of the new power, Jack held one of the tiny pups gently. It looked up at him with bright eyes, full of trust. We have to keep them safe, Jack said firmly. Rill nodded, exhaustion finally taking her. Together, we will protect them. Though battle outside raged, inside the station a new hope was born. The puppies were more than just offspring. They were the key to a new future, one of strength, unity, and survival. Jack knew the road ahead would be difficult. But with Rill and the puppies, he was ready to face whatever came next. The puppies were growing fast. Each day, they became stronger and more curious about the world around them. Their small bodies shimmered with a strange energy that filled the space station with a warm glow. Jack watched them closely, amazed by their rapid development. Rill, though still recovering from the birth, cared for her pups with fierce love. She moved slowly but carefully, making sure each puppy was safe and comfortable. Jack admired her strength and devotion. She was a mother unlike any he had ever known, but the peace did not last long. One morning, as Jack entered the nursery, he noticed something was wrong. One of the puppies was missing. "Rill," called urgently, "one of the pups is gone." Rill's ears flattened. "No? How?" Jack searched quickly, checking the security cameras and door locks. There were no signs of forced entry. "It must have left on its own," Jack said, worry growing in his voice. "But how?" Rill growled low. "This place is not safe. The Vorens are still near. They want the pups." Jack nodded grimly. "We have to find the missing puppy before it's too late." They set out together, following the small tracks left. Behind, the station was large and full of places a curious puppy could explore. But the presence of the Vorens made every step dangerous. As they moved through the corridors, Jack noticed strange readings on his scanner. A faint energy signature, matching the puppies. They followed the signal to an old storage bay, dark and rarely used. Jack's heart pounded. This is it. Rill stepped forward, her eyes glowing. "Stay close." Inside the storage bay, the missing puppy lay trapped beneath a fallen beam. It whimpered softly, scared but unharmed. Jack and Rill rushed to free it, just as they lifted the beam. A group of Voren soldiers burst in. Weapons raised. Jack stood in front of the puppy. "You won't take it." Rill's growl turned into a roar. Her energy flared, bright and fierce, lighting up the bay. The Vorens hesitated, then attacked. Jack fired his weapon, and Rill charged, protecting the puppy with all her might. The fight was brutal, but brief. The Vorens retreated, clearly afraid of Rill's power and the pup's energy. Jack held the rescued puppy close. "You're safe now." Rill looked at him with tired eyes. "But the danger grows. We must prepare." Jack agreed. "We need to train them, teach them to control their powers." Days turned into weeks as Jack and Rill worked together to raise the puppies. Each pup had unique abilities. Some could heal, others could create energy shields, and a few could move objects with their minds. Jack marveled at their potential. "They could change everything," he said. Rill nodded. "They are the future of our species, and maybe more." But not everyone saw the puppies as a hope. The Vorens grew more aggressive, launching attacks to capture or destroy the pups. One night, alarms blared. The station shook as another Voren assault began. Jack and Rill rushed to the nursery. Finding the puppies frightened but safe. "We must fight," Jack said. Rill growled. Together, the battle was fierce. Jack coordinated the station's defenses while Rill and the puppies used their powers to protect their home. Amid the chaos, one pup showed a surprising strength, breaking through enemy lines and saving Jack from danger. Jack looked at the pup, amazed. "You're stronger than I thought." Rill smiled weakly. They learn fast. After the fight, Jack knew the war was far from over. The puppies' powers made them targets, but also symbols of hope. He looked at Rill and the pups and made a promise. I will protect you, no matter what. Ril's eyes shone with gratitude, and I will fight with you. As the station settled into uneasy peace, Jack understood that their journey was just beginning. New life had brought new challenges, but also new strength. Together, they would face the future. The space station had seen many battles, but now the greatest challenge was at hand. The Vorons were determined to capture the puppies, believing their power could change the balance of the galaxy. Jack knew this was more than just a fight. It was a fight for survival, for hope, and for a new future. Ril stood beside him, her eyes glowing with quiet strength. The puppies, now stronger and braver, gathered around her, ready to defend their home. Jack, Ril said softly, this is our moment. We must protect the pups and stop the Vorons once and for all. Jack nodded. We will, together. The Voren fleet approached, larger and more dangerous than before. Their ships blocked the stars, dark and threatening. Inside the station, Jack prepared the defenses. He worked with Dr. Kim and the station crew to strengthen shields and weapons. Every moment counted. Ril gathered the puppies. Use your powers carefully. Protect yourselves and the station. The puppies nodded, their eyes shining with determination. Each one had grown into a small warrior, their strange energy ready to face the enemy. The battle began. Outside, the Vorons fired their weapons, trying to break the station's shields. Inside, Jack and the crew fought to keep systems running. Suddenly, the puppies unleashed their power. Bright beams of energy shot from their small bodies, pushing back the enemy ships. Shields shimmered and weapons faltered. The Vorons were surprised. They had not expected such strength from young pups. Ril led the charge, moving with speed and grace. Her powerful energy tore through enemy lines while Jack coordinated the defense. The puppies worked as a team, their abilities complementing each other. One healed the wounded, another created shields, and others attacked the Vorons with bursts of force. Jack watched, amazed. The puppies were not just children, they were protectors. But the Vorons had one last weapon, a massive ship designed to destroy the station in one blast. Jack's heart raced. We have to stop that ship, Ril growled. I will lead the puppies to face it. You keep the station safe. Jack agreed, knowing he could not leave Ril alone. Ril and the puppies moved toward the enemy ship. Their combined energy formed a bright shield as they approached. The massive ship fired, but the shield held strong. The puppies' energy overwhelmed the enemy's defenses. With a final burst, Ril and the puppies struck the ship's core. It exploded in a shower of light and debris. The Voron fleet retreated. Defeated back at the station, Jack breathed a sigh of relief. The battle was won. Ril returned, tired but smiling. The puppies followed, their eyes full of pride. Jack knelt down, holding one pup gently. You saved us all. Ril looked at Jack and the puppies. This is just the beginning. A new future awaits. Jack smiled, hope filling his heart. The puppies were more than a new life. They were a symbol of peace and strength. The galaxy had changed. Together, human and alien, they would build a better world. The puppies' energy glowed softly, lighting the way forward. Jack whispered, "We are ready." And with that, the space station returned to quiet, the stars shining bright with promise.